be alive in this land of ours. Good to drive in this land of ours.
Hello, Canada hockey fans in the United States.
The Hockey Time Machine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hockey Time Machine. I'm Glenn Dreyfus. March being Women's History Month, we're going to spend some time with three women who have and are making women's hockey history. Later on, we'll speak with the first captain of Israel's women's hockey team. Yes, they have a team. And a female medical doctor who once attended Vladislav Tretiak's goalie camp. First, we're pleased to welcome California-born pro hockey player and mover and shaker, Chelsea Goldberg. Hi, Chelsea. Thank you for making time for us.
Hey, Glenn. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Earlier this year, you tweeted out, "Honored to be featured in this issue of the Hockey News with an incredible list of amazing people." What was all that about?
Well, let me explain a little bit about that. For the past, I would say 8-9 years, I had been working on a project to get women's hockey over to Israel for the Maccabi games. After my twin brother got rostered on the 2013 team, I asked, can I play? They told me no. And from that point on, I made it a mission and a goal to get women's hockey to the Maccabi games. And it finally happened last July. So over the course of the past year and the past years plural, I would say this got a lot of traction and a lot of publicity just because this was a big time event, getting women's hockey over there, not only for the games, but just as a common theme of what even I'm fighting for in the PWHPA, Professional Women's Hockey Players Association, of just growing the game and exposing people to the game that, you know, might not necessarily be exposed to the game. So it was a win-win for all parties involved.
Well, thank you. You've kind of laid out where we're going to go on this show over the next hour, but let's start with what I consider to be the most sensible reason I've ever heard for starting to play ice hockey, because it was too hot outside.
Yeah, that's correct. That's exactly what happened. It was, 118 degrees in sunny Southern California. It's currently raining a lot here in SoCal. This is the most rain we've had in a long time. But back in the day when it was getting, 118 degrees outside, playing roller hockey, under the direct sunlight was almost borderline dangerous. And so at that point in time, my twin brother and I said, we love hockey, but what can we do to solve this problem? And we took it to ice hockey from there.
Yeah, well, maybe if it had been raining instead of 118 degrees, you would have taken up swimming.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually was a swimmer, and my mom was a swimmer in college. So I actually thought swimming was my main passion, and lacrosse and, your typical California sports. That was what I envisioned myself doing maybe at the collegiate level. Never did I really imagine playing hockey at the collegiate level until we were probably, and I say we because my brother and I are a package deal, up until the time that I went back east to play in high school, and obviously playing women's hockey in college, we had to separate. But at the time, we were probably about maybe 12 when we switched to ice hockey. And our coaches along the way kept encouraging us to pursue it because we had a talent, we had a gift, but we also worked extremely hard to be at the point that we were at. So when we both realized that we could take it to the next level, that's when hockey started becoming a part of the equation as to what we would play in college versus, like a swim or a lacrosse. hockey sparked my interest as far as taking it to the collegiate level.
Even before you got to the collegiate level, before your career really got going, one of your legs is broken. And on the anniversary of that injury, your other leg gets broken. Did you owe money to the mob?
At that point, I probably didn't even know what the mob was, so definitely no. But no, it's a crazy story, and I have been through a lot as far as injuries and adversity goes. To start that off, I broke my first leg, and I recovered, and I had actually committed to Northeastern University before that. So I had to call my coach up and say, "Hey, coach, I just broke my leg." And also to mention, I was a part of the national program, so I was involved with the USA national program at the time, and so breaking my leg was definitely something that I did not have in the equation and that I did not plan for. And so when I broke my first leg, it was definitely a challenge to overcome that. And then I recovered fully, great, got back to it. And then literally almost a year to the day, it was maybe a couple days off, I broke the second leg, same bone on the other leg. And so I again had to call my coach at Northeastern and be like, "Hey, coach, I broke my other leg." And he thought I was literally pulling his leg. He's like, "Are you pulling my leg?" And I was like, "No, like I'm serious. I broke my second leg, same bone." And he's like, "You know what? If anyone can overcome this, it's you. You've already shown that you can overcome it the first time around." And so I actually was out for a total of 4 years because of the two broken legs. And then my coach at Northeastern honored my scholarship, which was amazing. And that is definitely something that kept me going, not only playing for myself, but playing for, my coaches, my family, my friends that helped me and supported me along the way. But when I got to Northeastern in Boston, I got mono, classic freshman mono. And that hit me hard. I actually had to take a little medical leave from hockey and from school because my spleen and liver were too enlarged for me to be cleared to play again. So I missed that year and then recovered from that. And then leading into sophomore year, I actually stayed on campus training and taking classes and whatnot, just so I could have access to my trainers and my gym so I could keep training and whatnot. And sophomore year rolls around, and every time I skate, one of my ankles gets to be like this big. And it was like a balloon every time I skated. And so my team trainer was like, "Chelsea, we got to get that checked out and figured out." And so I went in for MRIs and x-rays, and one of the screws that was in my leg was facing the wrong way. So it should have been facing like straight into my leg, but one was going like that into my ankle bone. And so the team doctor said, "Chelsea, for your future, not even for right now, but for your future, we got to get this fixed and taken out." So I went in my sophomore year, my fourth year in a row, not playing consistently. I went in for another surgery, got the hardware out of one of my legs, and took that year off to recover. And so that was the fourth year in a row that I was out from competition, which was crazy. And I had never imagined going through that. But when I did recover, I was offered a couple of red shirts to, get those years back that I missed from college. But I was so mentally checked out and tired from not only recovering, but kind of playing catch up, like getting myself back up to where I was before the injuries and illnesses and whatnot. So it was definitely a mental battle at the end of the day, but it taught me so much. It taught me, how to overcome adversity, how to deal with those challenges, and most importantly, the purpose of what to keep fighting for. And I really had to find what my purpose of, overcoming those injuries and adversity was. And it was greater than myself. At the end of the day, I was fighting, obviously, to get back on the ice and to play for myself, but it was also about the people that supported me throughout those hard times as well. So it taught me a lot, and I wouldn't do it over again a different way, just because I think it did make me a better and stronger person in the long run.
Traditionally, everyone cheers, everybody's encouraging when people are recovering from physical disabilities like you did. But I'm glad you brought up the mental struggle. We're not as forgiving, not as understanding, not yet, with mental and emotional challenges. So, if you wouldn't mind, would you speak some to that? What the physical disabilities did to you mentally and emotionally, and why we should be cognizant of that just as much as when somebody has their leg in a boot.
Arguably, I would say that the mental battle amongst all of those physical challenges was more important to focus on than the physical challenges themselves, right? Because, yeah, the physical, you know, images of my legs being broken and being out for an injury, a physical injury, that was show and tell. Everyone knew that, everyone could see that. But what people don't know and don't see is what's going through your head when you're going through those hard times. And I get asked this a lot, and I can't tell you how many times I did think about quitting, and I did, you know, have those thoughts of, why am I doing this? What am I doing? This doesn't seem to be working out. But then you have to take a step back and remind yourself why and how you got to that point of where you're at, right? And so, but it's not easy. It's easier said than done. And this is what I love talking about, because if I could be an outlet for somebody that's going through this, or doesn't know how to go through this, I would love to be that for people that are going through adversity and challenges similar or maybe different, but still, fighting the mental battle of it, of why you're doing it and what you're doing it for, and how to overcome that, because the mental piece is arguably more important in my opinion. It's very, I would say, maybe easy to just quit on all that when nothing seems to be going right. But that's when I said you have to take a step back and remind yourself, hey, I'm a great hockey player. I got myself, a Division I scholarship to play college hockey. I was in the national program. I am a great hockey player, and I'm here for a reason. So you have to take the small wins that you can when you can, and remind yourself of those, and how you got there, and why you're there. And so that is something that I love talking about, and why I love talking about it, because I would love to be an outlet for somebody that's going through something similar.
Even so, it still unfortunately takes courage to talk about mental and emotional challenges. So I appreciate very much that you do speak about it openly and in an encouraging way. And I'm glad to say that your perseverance and stick to itiveness paid off, because you returned to the ice for Northeastern. And just like as if it was a movie script, you score not one, but two goals, both shorthanded.
Yeah, I mean, it really couldn't have played out better than that, right? It was one of the most incredible feelings. Uh, Not only scoring those two goals was great, right? But our team got the win. And at the end of the day, it's a team sport. So anything that I could do to help my team win is something that I'm proud to be a part of. And what was even more special than that was that my whole family was in the stands for that game. And this was really special because, obviously, being from Southern California, my family didn't really make it out to the East Coast that often. And so for them to all be in the stands watching my first game back after that long being away from competition, it was just one of the most surreal feelings. And at that point in time, it reminded me why I didn't give up. So the mental piece and obviously the physical recovery, it all came full circle as to why I never gave up, was for that exact moment right then and there.
And did you get back in time to play with Northeastern when they played a game at Fenway Park?
Yeah, so we actually had the opportunity to play at Frozen Fenway, which was also just such an incredible experience. And this is why we play sports. This is why hockey is a huge part of my life, is because of the experiences that it brought me and that it continues to bring me. I've been to some of the most incredible places. I've met some of the most incredible people that I will be lifelong friends with. But I've also experienced just some things that I never could have dreamed of or imagined being a part of. And Frozen Fenway was one that, you know, each year, each time they do Frozen Fenway, it's not a guarantee who gets to play. And there's a process of how it's picked and whatnot. And so when Northeastern got picked to play the women's team, it was obvious, everyone was so excited. And some of the girls had actually skated on Frozen Fenway in the past, but it was my first time. And just being a part of an outdoor event like that was so special and such a crazy experience.
And we were showing some pictures. You were also part of 2 Beanpot wins.
Oh yeah, 2 Beanpot wins. We won one on our home ice at Northeastern and one at BU. So for the women's Beanpot, it switches a local arena each year. So it switches between Harvard, Northeastern, Boston College, and Boston University each year. And we happen to win one on home ice and one at BU. So, I mean, winning 2 Beanpots in a career also is very rare. So again, that's another experience to add to the list of things that I never could have dreamed of or planned of or even thought about experiencing throughout my career.
You talked about all the places you've been, and we're going to talk about that. The first one, while in college, your buddy Alexa and you traveled to Kenya, but not for vacation, for True Start Athletics and the Care for Kenya project. Tell us what that is and your experiences in Africa.
Absolutely. I was fortunate enough to be named president of the athletes at Northeastern. So there's this organization amongst each school. It's called Student Athletic Advisory Committee. And I believe every, if not most, schools and athletic programs have a Student Athletic Advisory Committee within their athletic program. And I happen to be named the president for my last 2 years. And I was involved with SAC is what they call it for short. I was involved in SAC my whole Northeastern career just because I'm a people person. I love helping. I love giving back. And it gives me a purpose as far as like the opportunities that I've been given in my life. Like I love giving back, hopefully making a difference in other people's lives that maybe haven't experienced what I've experienced. And so to be named president of the Student Athletic Advisory Committee was not only a huge honor, but it really allowed me to, you know, make some of my dreams come true of helping the athletes within Northeastern give back to the community. And I was the voice and I was the person that, you know, could help out with ideas that some of our athletes had of where they wanted to do community service or what they wanted to do. And we would partner with organizations in the local Boston area and send athletes to do community service with them, work with them or volunteer with them whenever their schedules permitted them to. And I got this idea, like I'm full of ideas. I love obviously like doing new projects and anything I can do to help, continue to help. And so I got this new idea that I wanted to take this community service outreach and make it global. And so my vice president and I actually were roommates at Northeastern. She was on the volleyball team. I was on the hockey team. And we came up with this idea to pitch this global community service idea to the alumni network at Northeastern. And the alumni network approved it. And under a few conditions, I had to blog the whole trip and do some weekly and daily posts and updates of what we were doing and whatnot. But we got sponsored, her and I, to go to Kenya with this organization called True Start Athletics. And their mission was to basically donate and provide school supplies, sporting equipment, uniforms, pretty much the essentials to different schools and every kid at each one of these schools. And so we took a trip to Kenya. It was July, forget what year it was, but we went July for a couple weeks, and I think we were in 3 different regions, and we reached 6 different schools, and we raised enough money to provide school supplies to all those kids, and like I said, sporting equipment, so soccer balls and footballs and whatever else we were able to bring over with us, we gave to these kids, and we got all these kids new uniforms and shoes, and we took some of the kids to the doctors to get their eyes checked, and it was a really, really special experience, just because not only was it something that we were so proud of obviously taking to a global level, but we witnessed the joy and the happiness right in front of us, and our hard work paid off right in front of us. And it's hard to even call it hard work, because at that point in time, it was just, I was so in the moment of obviously providing and giving back to these different schools and these different communities and regions. And it was the most life-changing experience I've ever had. And aside from breaking both my legs and going through the physical injuries and adversity that I went through, I would say my trip to Kenya was probably, even up until this point of my life, one of the most life-changing experiences, where I learned the most about myself and perspective of life and your attitude on life, and how to turn some negative thoughts and situations in your life positive, just from that trip to Africa alone. So I plan to go back at some point 100%, just because Africa is beautiful, and the trip that we went on, like I said, was just so incredible. And I would love to continue to do that in the years to come as well.
Wow. Tell me about a different type of journey after you graduate from Northeastern. Tell me about your journey through the women's pro ranks of hockey.
Women's professional hockey is complicated right now. I'll just leave it at complicated, but it's something that, again, I'm very passionate about, and it's a bigger mission than just myself. It's about creating awareness to the hockey community that women's professional hockey does exist, and we are very talented, and we deserve just as much as, men's professional players do. And that's actually what we're fighting for right now. We are fighting for a league where we can make enough money to have this be our full-time job, because right now we all work full-time in addition to playing hockey, and that's essentially balancing 2 full-time jobs. So
let me take you through it step by step, because I want to get to the larger issues. But chronologically, you started off in a Canadian league, but playing in Massachusetts.
Correct. Yeah. So to backtrack and to give a little bit more context, so after my injuries and, my time away from hockey just due to the adversity, in my head, I thought I was done playing. I was like, you know what, I've been through a lot. I declined the red shirts from Northeastern, and I still had my 5th year at Northeastern, but I chose not to play hockey that 5th year, just because I was mentally just exhausted. But that 5th year, I also realized how much I missed hockey and how much I missed that sense of family, and playing for each other, and just sense of, community within. And so at that point in time, it all kind of just fell in line and worked out. And I had applied to get a master's degree, or to get into a master's program at Northeastern. I got accepted. And around the same time, I actually received a call from the Boston's professional team in the Canadian Women's Hockey League, the CWHL. I got a call from that coach, who happened to also be recruiting me to UNH. He was the UNH coach at the same time I was getting recruited to play college. And so before I signed at Northeastern, this coach happened to be the UNH women's hockey coach. So he and I had a relationship from the past, but he called me and offered me, a spot on the team, and said, we'd love to have you. And it took some thinking to do, but I was so proud to have been drafted by the Boston Blades in the CWHL when I was. And that was my first year of playing pro, and signing pro was in 2016, I believe, after my 5th year of college, and after I got into the master's program, and basically just happened that I would be staying in Boston for, a few more years and just an undetermined amount of time. I had no idea what my plan was at that point, but I knew that I was playing professional hockey, that I was getting a master's degree and working full time at the university as well. And after a few years in the CWHL, we received a call, or we received an email one day saying that we needed to hop on a call. And I think it was just a random Sunday. And we hopped on the call, and it was a league-wide call, and they announced that our league was folding, but we were forming the PWHPA, which is the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association. And this was to all band together to fight for this new league that we're fighting for. And so that's why I say the state of women's hockey is complicated right now, but we're fighting for, like I said, we're fighting for a sustainable league where we can make enough money to play hockey full time instead of working a full-time job as well.
Tell me how the PWPHA is. I got those initials wrong, didn't I? Pro Women's Hockey Players Association.
PWHPA,
Okay.
yeah.
As long as you know what I'm saying.
I got you. Yep, I got you.
But it's set up differently. For people who don't know, it has sponsors. Tell me how it's set up different than necessarily here's a team in a city and you play all your games in that city and travel to away games.
Yeah, so we're set up by regions. And so there's a Minnesota region, there was a Boston region, Toronto, Calgary, but this last season there were only 4 regions. And so it's split up by regions, and everyone that's in the PWHPA gets put on a team, and you play in what's called showcases right now. These are the games that we're playing in. So we're still playing in games, but they're just called showcases. And one of the reasons they're called showcases is to literally showcase the talent that we have in this league and the talent of women's professional hockey, and showcasing that this does exist and this is what we're fighting for. And it's been amazing, the support and the traction that we've received, and it's only continuing to get better, and hopefully we'll have a league formed by the end of this year.
You started to go into this, and I'd like to pick up on what you were saying, which is that women's pro hockey is the furthest thing from the lap of luxury compared to the men. And I would like you to explore for us what people don't know about what women players have to go through and what they have to do just to be able to hit the ice.
Oh, I think the first thing is that it starts with obviously all of us balancing a full-time job as well. And so when you're balancing a full-time work schedule and a full-time playing schedule, like I said, that's almost balancing 2 full-time jobs. So that's hard on the body, that's hard on the mind. And I would say that's something that should be pointed out right away. Another thing is that when I was playing in the Boston team in the CWHL, we actually had, I think they were 10:30 p.m. practice times at an arena 30 to 45 minutes outside the city. So, I mean, we would be on the ice at 10:30 p.m. So you imagine, say they're an hour, we'd get off the ice at 11:30 p.m. I wouldn't get home until pushing 1 a.m. and then we'd have to get up for work the next day. So that kind of ties into the balancing the full-time job as well. So the really late practice times, the inconvenient practice times, we don't have a locker room, so we haven't had locker rooms, so we have to lug our equipment to and from, and these are just little things that, as you know, professional athletes, we would like to see change. And even the access to equipment, we would get access to some equipment, but not all equipment. And so for me, coming from Northeastern University, playing a Division I sport, that almost felt more professional than playing professional women's hockey. And so, yeah, we're fighting for a league where we can play hockey for our full-time job, but we're also fighting for all these things in between that a lot of people don't understand or see as differences compared to the NHL players or, other men's professional sports teams.
Continuing the Chelsea Goldberg travel log, your pro hockey career included a trip to China. How did that come about?
So when I was playing in the CWHL, 2 Chinese teams were formed leading up to the Olympic Games as a way to kind of, I guess, showcase and promote women's hockey overseas in that region of the world as well. And so these 2 teams were formed as part of our league. So each team in my league would go over to China for a couple week periods at a time and play these 2 Chinese teams a few times over the course of a couple weeks. And that was a crazy experience as well. And that's why I say, like, hockey has taken me to amazing places and incredible experiences. And it was actually one of my most favorite trips that I've been on. I have never been to that region of the world. And so for me to obviously experience a different culture and a new country and just the differences of lifestyle over there, I love diving into cultural experiences and whatnot. And so for me, that just was a great addition to the list of things to see and cultures to experience, and even things to learn about the Chinese culture. And not only was the experience incredible, but the talent on the Chinese teams, they had North American players on them as well. So the competition was really, really good. And the arena that we played at was basically like an NHL arena. So we felt professional when we went over there to play.
As a Jewish hockey player in China, after you played the game, did you want to play another game in an hour?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always want to play.
Yeah, but that was a joke.
Oh.
See,
well, then
because Chinese food, after you eat it, an hour later you want to eat it again.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't.
All right, it was barely a joke. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah.
Let's forget the last 30 seconds never happened.
Oh, that's on me too.
Now, I want to show you a couple of pictures. Here you are, at least you're back, but you're at the United Center. You've gotten to play on some really famous ice surfaces. That has to be one of your fondest memories.
Yeah, add it to the list for sure. Playing at United Center in Chicago, so cool. This was during the height of the pandemic, so as you can see, there are no fans in the arena, but at the same time, it was televised on NHL Network, and so we were still doing our job of showcasing women's professional hockey. And we also got to play at Madison Square Garden, which I believe at this point is top 2 arenas and places that I've played in. Madison Square Garden was an unreal experience. It was surreal, and also playing in Israel is top of my list as well.
Which is coming up next in our conversation. But one more photo. This is you and teammates, and the woman in red is Billie Jean King. Did you get to spend any time with her, and what did she tell all of you?
Yeah, so if you can see on the back of my jersey there, it's that's Billie Jean King's signature. So she was actually our team's sponsor at this point. This year, I believe this was year 2 of the PWHPA, year 2 or 3, and Billie Jean King actually sponsored this team of ours. It was called the Women's Sports Foundation team, and we were based out of New Hampshire, so the Northeast region. And so I would say her and I exchanged quite a few words. And at this point, we were at Madison Square Garden after our game. It was a great game against Team Adidas, the Minnesota region team. And I don't know what I said, but it looks like it's a happy conversation. So,
Yeah.
so I'll take it. But yeah, I mean, just even having the opportunity and I feel like it's a privilege to work and play for Billie Jean King. That alone was something that I will never forget, and something that I was so proud to be a part of.
So not only have you been all over Canada and the United States, you've been to China and Kenya, and for at least 8 years, maybe more, you worked to include Israel on your list, not just as a tourist, but to play hockey. And for those who don't know, every 4 years, the Maccabiah Games in Israel welcome athletes of Jewish heritage. 80 countries were represented last year. But there used to be, as you mentioned at the top of our show, hockey only for men at the games. So give me more broadly what you asked to do, what they wouldn't let you do, and then what you decided to do instead.
Yeah, so I brought this up previously in the show, but when my twin brother got rostered on the 2013 men's ice hockey team to go play in the Maccabi Games, I just simply asked, can I play? Because I had grown up playing boys hockey just because in Southern California, that was the opportunity that was in front of us. Women's hockey was still growing, and it continues to be a growing sport out here. But at that point in time, I grew up playing boys hockey. So for me, asking if I could play on the men's team was not really a big ask, in my opinion. And they told me no. And I was like, okay, well, in my head, I'm determined now to make a women's division and get women's hockey over there as well. And fast forward to 2017, he got rostered on the men's team again, my twin brother. And I again asked if I could play on the men's team, and they again told me no. So at this point in time, I had created a spreadsheet of a list of females that I had played with that were Jewish, or that I knew of that were Jewish, mostly a word of mouth type of thing. And I would just add names to the spreadsheet, this ongoing spreadsheet. And in 2017, I had nowhere enough interest of women to represent their countries to play in the Maccabi Games. So I knew I had a lot more work to do. And so I had teamed up with the chairs of Hockey Maccabi USA, and we got to work, and we continued this spreadsheet, and we I asked what needs to happen in order to form a women's division, and they said, you need to show us enough interest of females that would want to play and provide us a list and make sure that these are serious commitments. And I said, okay, cool, like I can make that happen. So my list kept growing, and I would reach out on social media, just a broad audience and saying, hey, if you know, or if you are a Jewish female hockey player, or you know anyone interested in representing their country to play at the next Maccabi Games, please let me know. I'd love to talk to you and get you more info and whatnot. And those social media posts that I would make created so much attraction and so much attention and so much interest that my list continued to grow. And I finally received a message from a player on the Canadian side saying that she was interested in doing this and helping out, and that she's been wanting to make this happen. And so we hopped on a call, we teamed up together. She took the reign on the Canadian side to continue to develop and grow the list on her end, and I continued with the US side. We had also learned that Team Israel has a team and had been practicing. So Maccabi overall mentioned that we needed 3 teams in order to field a women's division. And so at that point in time, we knew Team Israel had a team. And I knew that Melissa, I actually competed against Melissa in the CWHL, in the Canadian Women's Hockey League. She was on one of the Canadian teams. So I had known her via professional women's hockey, but she was taking the reins on the Canadian side. And I had full faith of making this happen on the U.S. side. And so we would hop on monthly calls together, all of us from Canada, U.S., and we would make sure we were on the same page, and we were continuing to find interest and make sure we had enough players that were committed to going. And finally, I remember we had enough 100% commitments that would want to go if we could get a women's division started. And we presented this list to USA, Maccabi, and they finally approved and stamped it that, you know, we could officially field a women's division just based off the interest and commitments that we had. And then the process just kept going. We announced our coaches and trainers and staff members, and it just became more and more official as the months went on. And that was around 2019 and 2020, maybe early into 2020, I would say, is when we got the official approval. And then from then on, it was just a matter of making the rosters official and committing girls. And we announced that we had a training camp before we would take off to Tel Aviv. And it really didn't hit me that it was all happening until we landed in Tel Aviv. I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. So it was an 8 to 9 year process, but at the time I had no idea what it would entail, what it would, take, the time and the energy it would take. But it was an awesome process, and I've met a ton of really cool people, and these people will be in my life forever. And we had an amazing experience, and we didn't win the gold medal. The Canadian team won the gold medal, but this is my famous quote that I like to say on behalf of my whole team. And I think everyone that was a part of the women's division, we all won the gold medal experience just because of the hard work that it took, and just the surreal feeling being there on the ice in this arena that was beautiful in front of fans. It was awesome. It was incredible.
And now everyone hearing that story will have no question why the Hockey News put you in their movers and shakers issue. And when I first heard the story that you just told, I thought of this photo, because this is the arena in Israel, and this is you. And when you started, this dream had to feel as difficult as if somebody had said, oh, you need to climb up to that scoreboard and we're not going to give you a ladder. But you did that Sisyphean task, but damned if you didn't get the rock up the hill. And you have called your Maccabi experience life-changing. So we're going to show some photos, and please talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a few games into our play. I don't know what game this was, but
I don't need the specifics about the games, but just more about the experience and why it was important and what a foundation it laid, and why the important part wasn't just on the ice, but off the ice as well.
Yeah, it was an honor to represent, our country, and it was an honor to be named captain of this team and be able to help lead this team to a silver medal. And just, we created this bond that, like I said, these females will be a part of my life forever. And this experience bonded all of us. And just being there, this was the first puck drop of the games, and this feeling, this is when it hit me, but it really didn't hit me until probably the last game, the gold medal game, after we had been given our medals, is when it truly sank in that we made history and that we made it happen. And just combining faith and sport overall was something that, again, I had dreamed about after my brother got named to those rosters, but in the moment, it was just the most surreal feeling, just being able to really put my faith and sport, two of the most important things in my life, together, and experience these with these amazing women and the amazing staff that we brought along with us, and just the whole organization coming together, supporting us, and the support that we received from the fans that were there, and the support that we received from fans that weren't there, that learned about this experience. And I think that we were really able to showcase again what women's hockey is, and what we can do, and that we can play just like the men. So this all aligns with the goals of personally trying to grow the game, but also with the PWHPA growing the game, and just showcasing the talent that women's hockey has within the game itself. And so again, this has to be on the top. It's hard to add, one of my experiences is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's hard to put a number on them just because they're all so different, but so great in different ways. And but this is definitely top of my list. Just like I said, being able to represent my country, and
I bet you love that photo.
Yeah, this was obviously after the gold medal game, but I was one of the last players on the ice, and the reason why is I think it was just all soaking in at that point in time. And I remember being on the ice with this flag and looking up in the stands, and some families are still there, and our men's team was still there, and they were yelling to me, just like congratulating me on obviously a great women's tournament, but also just the fact that we made this happen. And so looking up at our men's team, and looking at the rest of the fans that were still there with the silver medal on and with the flag in hand, that's when it really started to sink in that, wow, like we made history, but that I was just so honored and grateful to be there with that team, and in a country that I had never been to and that I've always wanted to go. Just being Jewish has always been a big part of my life, and I'm so proud to be Jewish. And my grandparents, who are no longer with us, I definitely thought about them throughout this whole process, and I know that they would be so proud looking down and knowing this happened. And so it was just such a surreal experience, being able to combine the sport that I love, but also my faith, and sharing that with this amazing group of people as well.
And who is this gentleman that you took a selfie with while you were in Israel?
Stan the man. He is the legend, Stan Fischler. He actually, when I was this, I forget, man, my timeline is all jumbled, but I believe after we had found out that women's hockey would be present at the game, I had started reaching out to outlets, just letting them know that we were going to be in Israel, and that I believe this would be a cool opportunity to cover. And Stan, actually, a mutual connection connected us. And honestly, I consider Stan a close friend of mine now, because he's not only a huge supporter, but he is such a great guy, and a great supporter of the game, of the women's game, of myself. And he and I got the opportunity to meet while we were there, and I'll add that to the list of great moments being in Israel, was meeting him in person. And we still have a great relationship to this day, and we still send emails back and forth. And I consider him, like I said, a friend of mine now, which is great.
Chelsea, there are some things we can't learn about women's hockey just from being in the stands or watching on TV. So let me pepper you with a few quick questions. For instance, do women chirp on the ice as much as the men do?
Yeah, if not more. Women might be bigger chirpers than the men, to be honest. I'm not a chirper. I don't know how to chirp. I don't really know what I would say to somebody. I don't think I've ever said anything to anyone on the ice. I think I just if somebody chirps me, I honestly just skate away because I'm just like, I don't really know what I would say back to you. But yeah, women, we get feisty out there for sure. And I get that question a lot of, do women fight? Do they chirp? And yeah, I mean, we can't hit. There's obviously the no checking rule in women's hockey, but the refs will let us play and hits are thrown. And yeah, there's some fights that form for sure, and some chirps that are made. So it's the same. I mean, it's hockey. We're fighting for the win, and it's a team sport. So obviously we have each other's backs at the end of the day, and it's a feisty game.
What about teammate pranks? I'm not hazing, but pranks, baby powder and hair dryers, that kind of stuff.
Pranks. I don't know if I've ever. I'm sure I've seen some good pranks in the locker rooms and whatnot, but I can't think of off the top. At Northeastern, I know there were some prank wars back and forth with some of the girls and like our equipment manager, and just like fun pranks like that. But I don't know if there was ever like the baby powder and the blow dryer. That was never pulled off at Northeastern. Yeah, I don't know if I can think of some good ones that I've seen. I know of some good ones from, like my brother's experiences and just locker room experiences in general. But as far as the teams I've been on, I don't know if I've witnessed a really good prank myself. I've also never been pranked, so maybe that's on me for not being a part of a prank. I've never pranked somebody either, so I'm sure it happened when, in the locker room when I wasn't there. But as far as like I saw with my own eyes, I haven't seen
Okay.
much.
I did mention hazing, and sadly, that too has infected women's hockey. There was just a report from The Athletic describing the women's program at Harvard University as abusive, racist, even cult-like, not just from the coach, but reportedly players even made freshman teammates slide naked, chest first on the ice, leaving them burned and bleeding. And Chelsea, I don't mean to make you the representative of all of women's ice hockey, but what's your knowledge about how widespread this is?
Well, it's unacceptable, first and foremost. I think nobody deserves to be treated that way. And I know hazing is across colleges after college and across frats and sororities and sports teams. So it exists everywhere, right? And no doubt it exists on sports teams as well. It's not acceptable in my opinion. I know it's a part of these traditions and whatnot, but I think instead of calling it hazing, I think you could go about like some fun games without it being like that harsh of hazing. You know what I mean? I think there's other ways to go about having fun with, like a new incoming class and a new freshman class. And but I think some hazing takes it too far, and it's unacceptable. And I mean, I stay out of that as far as I can. I don't ever get myself in the middle of any of that. And if I see something that I think is wrong, I say something, and I don't get involved as best as I can. And if it needs to be taken to a higher level, then it needs to be taken to a higher level.
I raise the hazing because I do believe that light is the best disinfectant. In that vein, misogyny against women playing hockey, unfortunately, is still a real thing. Girls shouldn't take valuable ice time. Girls shouldn't take spots on boys' teams. Girls shouldn't share the finite funding for what is an expensive sport. Have you personally faced any of that? And also, since you're an important voice, what is your answer for parents, fans, even coaches who spout that nonsense?
Well, the first thing that I have to say is that hockey is for everyone, and sports are for everyone, and everyone deserves a chance to play and maybe maybe it's something that you want to play for fun, maybe it's something you want to play at a high level, but everyone deserves a chance to at least experience it. And so what I say is that hockey is for everyone, female, male, gender, ethnic background, where you're from. It doesn't matter. I think, again, and this all ties into what like we're fighting for and what I'm fighting for of growing the game is that, truly everyone can and deserves a chance to play hockey. So I don't necessarily have tolerance for those comments just because I myself play women's hockey and I've experienced hockey at every level, including boys hockey. And I come from Southern California where women's hockey isn't as big as it might be in, say, Minnesota or on the East Coast. So I've seen a lot, I've heard a lot, I've experienced a lot. I put my head down and, as I mentioned, I speak up when I need to speak up, but I just try to ignore it as best as I can and just try to act on what I believe is right and what I believe in. And so my actions right now are just doing what I do best, and that's being a voice and an advocate of the game and trying to grow women's hockey, not only globally, nationwide, locally in Southern California. So it's up to, I think, individuals just to take a stance and, not really let it affect them too much and just keep doing what we're doing and what we do best. And I think we're doing a great job of showcasing women's hockey and that we're talented and that we deserve what we're fighting for, and to not let the noise really affect us like that.
You've also said that often you've been the only Jewish player on your team, and I think the LA Kings recently invited you to participate in a panel on anti-Semitism. If you would, please share with us some of those discussions and your thoughts.
I've been doing some work with the LA Kings since I moved back to Los Angeles recently, and it's nice being a part of an organization that also believes in the growth of women's sports and hockey and community work, and our values and our morals align. So it's great to be a part of that. But I also noticed and realized that they take part in themed nights throughout the season, and they have a ton of themed nights for different cultures and heritages, and the Jewish heritage was not on the list for the past many years. And I brought up to them, hey, why can't we do a Jewish heritage night, especially considering the amount of Jewish people that we have in LA alone? And it finally got approved, and it wasn't a budgeted or sponsored event by any means, but I told them that I would help as much as I can. And so I took the reins on connecting with as many people as I could that I thought would want to help out and support this event. And we agreed on doing a pregame panel before the Kings versus Islanders game at Crypto.com Arena. And we also made these amazing shirts that have
cool. To life.
Yep, the LA Kings logo with saying L'chaim, and that alone was a huge I would say attraction. We got so much support on the shirts. We got so much support on the overall night. Unfortunately, the panel had to get canceled before the game, but we were still able to give out our shirts as part of the ticketing promotional pack. And I'm so proud to say that we sold, we doubled the ticket sales from the previous times that they've tried to do this heritage event, and we received enough support to carry it on to future seasons and have it become more of a sponsored event. So it was an overall great success, and the game actually took place last night. So I was at the Kings versus Islanders game last night, supporting Jewish Heritage Night, and the overall, I would say, support that we got was incredible, and I would say the access that we have to make this an even bigger and better event in the future has already been approved, and I'm looking forward to continuing to put on this Jewish Heritage Night with the Kings.
I hope the answer is no, but has anti-Semitism been part of your hockey experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I believe it's always existed, and it continues to exist, unfortunately. I have worn a Star of David on my neck since my bat mitzvah many years ago. I actually am wearing a different pennant right now, but when I got to Boston, I was with my Star of David on my neck. I felt some comments that they weren't terrible, but they just made me uncomfortable. Just by wearing my Star of David around my neck, and I've definitely experienced some, questioning and just some comments that just didn't make it easy, and it was kind of an unsettling feeling. So there were times where I felt like maybe I should take off my Star of David. My Star of David actually, the connector piece broke, so I had to switch out pennants. But there were times where I felt like I needed to take it off just because of some comments that I've received and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we're all humans. Humans are different. We believe in different things. And it's just a reminder to myself of how proud I am to be Jewish and how proud I am to have been raised Jewish. And in my opinion, I think it's something that needs to be talked about more, and we need to come together more and just be proud of who we are, and stick together and really cherish the faith that we believe in, and create awareness of the overall conversation that it still exists, but to be proud of who we are at the end of the day, and not really let it affect what we believe in.
I know that was an uncomfortable question to ask and answer, and I appreciate very much again that you're out front about that. So we'll go to a lighter moment. On another podcast that was a great listen, Jenna Duddleston asked you, what was your proudest drunk moment? And you answered, there's so many. Look at this photo. Do we need to get you to an intervention?
Yeah, actually, that was part of the podcast. I think we were on a little intervention ourselves with Casamigos. Casamigos was the mediator there.
Well, certainly that looks like a fun program. We have a dry podcast, but maybe we need to revisit that thought. Okay. I also know you pursue music or have wanted to pursue music, and I wondered if you'd ever gotten in contact with a Connecticut-based hockey band called the Zambonis.
No, I actually have not. I feel like I've heard of the Zambonis before, but I'm heavily into music. I grew up playing guitar, and at the point of choosing to take hockey to the next level, I actually chose hockey over guitar growing up, and I'm revisiting my love for music now. I'm learning how to produce music right now, so it's something that I'm really passionate about, I'm really interested in, and it's a fun hobby right now. I'm hoping to get into it more seriously down the road, but music's always been a huge part of my life, and it's a great outlet for myself, especially through all the hard times that I went through. I think it's a great outlet for other people to be able to connect to something so universal. Every game, before everything I do. So I think music's always been and always will be a massive part of my life.
If only you could find a way to string a hockey stick so you could combine the two.
That'd be a cool guitar. That's a really cool idea, actually. A guitar made out of hockey sticks would even be cool.
Let's end where we began. Not too long ago, you participated in a different panel sponsored by the Kings about women's hockey. Does it blow your mind that you're the mentor now? And what does that role mean to you?
Actually, I got asked this question last night when I was being interviewed for the Jewish Heritage Night with the Kings, and it's something that I never really dreamed of or planned on, having a part of my life. When you're playing the game, you don't think of some of these things right away, but the more that I've, fought for women's hockey and have experienced what we've experienced, it's something that I'm very passionate about now, is giving back to the sport that gave me so much. And I want to be an outlet for these young women and young players in general, any hockey players in general that, like I said, have gone through adversity, gone through hard times. I'm happy to be an outlet and a resource for, and I want to be that. And it's something that makes me so happy, giving back to the sport that I've gained incredible relationships from and seen and traveled to incredible places. So if I can be, an advocate and somebody that's able to provide some experiences for the next generation, that's my goal, and that's something that I'm very passionate about, and I believe heavily in, is just giving back to the sport that's given me so much. So being a mentor to these young girls and being an idol that they can look up to is something that, again, I never dreamed about, but here I am, and I'm happy to be in this role, and I want to be there for them as much as I can.
You've also described it as being bigger than yourself. Now, that's easier for you than it is for me, because if I was bigger than myself, I wouldn't fit inside the door. But okay.
Glenn, you're full of jokes.
I'm Jewish.
You're full of jokes. You're full of them.
I'm full of something. I don't know if it's jokes.
I'm a pretty witty person, I would say, but I don't know, like I don't have just jokes stored in my back pocket. I feel like you've got a lot of jokes stored in your back pocket.
Here's the thing. I've been married for 35 years. And about 28 years ago, my wife Katie stopped laughing at my jokes. So anytime I talk to somebody else, and my kids are now grown up and they've moved away, so I have no outlet.
And they've also heard them too 100 times. So
I have no outlet for my dad jokes. So I apologize, but
it's okay. I know which joke my dad's about to say as well, just based off of who the audience is, who he's talking to, and the moment of time that he's in. We know exactly what joke is coming out of his mouth.
Dad jokes are a real thing, and maybe you screw up your face like this, just like my daughter does, because she knows it's coming. But
me, I would never do that to you.
No, but I bet you've done it to your dad.
Oh, we kind of just we kind of just let the joke play out. In our heads, we know what the answer is, but we let the other people experience the joke. But we're like, oh man, we know exactly what joke's coming.
Well, I know the LA night is beckoning you, and you've spent more than an hour with us. We very, very much appreciate your time. We will continue to look for your success on the ice and also your remarkable contributions to hockey behind the scenes as well. I want to let you know we're going to play a taped interview now with the captain of the Israeli women's hockey team and with Esther Silver, who is the general manager of that team. So I'm going to put you in the waiting room. You're welcome to skedaddle. I know you got a lot of things to do. If you want to listen, you're welcome to stay there and listen, but we'll let you get on to whatever is next. But thank you so much for sharing your time with us. We appreciate it very much.
I appreciate you having me, and I actually know both of those guests that you're about to have on, so please give them my best wishes as well. I have to meet my family at dinner shortly, but I will definitely check this out after, and just please give them my best for sure.
Okay. Well, if you would please let us know what jokes your dad told at dinner. No,
I
no,
don't know
that you haven't heard them yet.
Well, but we know what's coming. We've already heard them. So I'm just trying to think of what jokes he's gonna say at dinner.
Okay, Chelsea. Thank you.
You know, a good one that he would say, because it's been raining, is do you know the forecast for this week, and it's chilly today but hot tamale. So
well, just tell him that we spent the last hour Cavell over Chell.
yeah. I will gladly.
Okay. That's my mic drop.
Mic drop. I'm dropping mine too.
Okay. Thank you, Chelsea. We appreciate it. Nice meeting you and nice talking to you.
Thanks, Glenn. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.
As I mentioned at the top of the program, I interviewed two other remarkable women earlier this week. Here's that conversation from the land of milk and honey and hockey. Dr. Esther Silver is the general manager of the Israeli women's ice hockey team. And first of all, how much joy does it give you hearing those words, Israeli women's hockey team?
You have no idea. 15 years ago, it was my dream to put together a national team for Israel. But it's a lot of hard work. And only in the last 2 years, thanks to the efforts of someone by the name of Lavav Weinberg, were we able to put together a team. And we actually participated last year in the IIHF competition in Serbia. So it's a reality. So in answer to your question, I'm enthralled. I'm over the moon with happiness.
Good to hear. And forgive me if I don't get this right. Shen Kotler.
Yeah.
I was close.
Yeah.
Maybe a B minus. You're the captain of the Israeli women's team. The Kotler family is well represented on the squad. Who are the others besides yourself?
Okay, so beside myself, my sister Shani is also playing in the team, and my father Boris is the head coach of the team.
So is it a plus or a minus to have your dad as your coach?
I think it's a plus because he knows my weaknesses and he knows my strength, and he can control like the game.
And you actually have played alongside your father, right?
Yeah, that's right. Before the women's team was established, I played in a boys' team where my father was one of the team players. And for years, we played together in the same team and even in the same shift.
That's cool. Esther, what did it take and how long did it take to build support for a women's national team?
That's a great question. I would say this is an ongoing project. We don't have a lot of support from the government yet. I think that's due to a lot of political reasons, budget, etc. We had a lot of support from the Canadian Embassy here in Israel, which was amazing. And all of the people involved are volunteering. Boris Mindel was our coach last year, and he's been with hockey for years, and he totally supports girls and women's hockey, and Lavav again. So it's something that we're really hoping to get more and more support as we develop.
You grew up, I understand, in Calgary, and did you do like a lot of families? Did they flood the backyard?
Yes. My dad, every year in Calgary, it gets pretty cold, minus 20, and he'd be out there with a hose making a rink for us.
And then you moved to Toronto and decided you wanted to be a goalie?
Yeah, well, goalies are crazy, right? So I fit it. I love hockey, and I played with the beer leagues. I played on the Canadian Moose, and I played competitive women's A-level hockey, and it was just a lot of fun.
And I understand you played on both men's and women's teams, right? That you just wanted ice time that much.
Well, men's teams played better. The men that I played with were men who had played Junior B in the Ontario Hydro League, and they were just really good players. And I also played, I was the goalie for the alumni at Baycrest Hospital, and it was great. Paul Henderson played, Dougie Gilmore, all of the greats were there, and I was their goalie. It was unbelievable.
History will record that in the first women's game ever for Team Israel, at 5:24, the second period, well, you tell us what happened.
It was an amazing and unbelievable moment. There was an opportunity to throw the puck towards the goal from the blue line. So my sister Shani got assist on this goal. She stood in the right place at the right moment and hid the puck from the goalie. And it was like the best goal we could do this game.
Now, how's your celly? How's your celebration?
I got the puck from the goal, and we were celebrating all the team together this goal.
Ken, what were the best parts of the Maccabea games for you?
In my opinion, the best part of the Maccabea was that we took part in such a significant event where we got to know female players from the US and Canada at the highest hockey level and competed against them.
The Canadian team helped you at a practice, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. They were really nice and wanted to help us and just to give us tips and like just to be really kind and nice.
Did you ever imagine you'd be playing in front of so many people?
Absolutely not. In Israel, hockey is not very popular sport. So until the Maccabea, I haven't had a chance to play like in front of so many people.
Esther, what was that like for you? Here you have teams from the US and Canada in a 10,000 seat venue. Can you even describe it?
Well, I can say that I was given the honor of carrying the Israeli Hockey Federation flag, and I wouldn't let anyone touch it. And we marched into Teddy Stadium with the other 10,000 athletes, and I was crying from happiness. That sums it up.
When people hear that you're a hockey general manager, yeah, doctor, we know what that is, but what kind of reactions do you get when you tell people, yeah, I'm a general manager of a women's ice hockey team?
People just, they don't understand. Israelis are like dumbfounded. They're like, what? There's an Israeli ice hockey team? And I'm going, yeah, we're trying to get kids more involved and get more interest in it. But it's like a foreign entity here in the meantime. But we're getting more and more interest, which is really great.
I want to mention about your team too. It's a real melting pot, different religions, different geographic areas of the country, different ages. Tell me more about that.
Well, I'll tell you our latest news. We are recruiting a young woman who's a native Canadian, and she's come to Israel with her husband, and she contacted me and she wants to come and play. So on Tuesday, tomorrow, at the practice, we're hoping that she'll show up. We're giving her equipment because her equipment's still back in Canada. So we've had Druze. Druze is a kind of a religion in Israel. It's not Muslim and it's not Christian, but it's a religion in Israel. And we've had Christian Arabs and we have Muslim Arabs who have played with us. It's a polyglot of players from everywhere, every age. We've got Army officers. We have everything.
Ken, I want to show you a photo of all the pictures I saw at the games. This one's my favorite. You're in it against a Canadian player, and the giant smiles on both of your faces put a smile on my face. Do you remember that moment?
Yeah, this is my favorite photo too. This photo actually shows the connection that all the girls had during the tournament. All the games were always in a good atmosphere. Even if you lose or you win, it doesn't matter what is the situation, but always like a good atmosphere.
How do you think you're different now than before?
I think that now we know where we need to step up and where we need to give another effort. And next time, I hope we will be much better.
And Esther, I have to ask you because you mentioned Tretiak. You actually attended one of his hockey camps. Tell me about that.
Well, my son was attending, and I asked Mr. Tretiak, because that's what you say, Mr. Tretiak, if I could come. And he's looked at me and he said, "You're too old for that." And I said, "No, I'm not." And I attended. And this was 20 years ago. And I had a blast. He was great. We actually became good friends. Every time he sees me, he gives me a big bear hug and asks how I'm doing. He's a wonderful gentleman and great hockey player.
Well, he's a wonderful gentleman, except for telling you you were too old.
Yes. Well, I was.
Now, as you mentioned, he's not the only big name you've been on the ice with. Paul Henderson and Daryl Sittler. You were in a charity game, right?
That's right. It was a lot of fun, but I really embarrassed myself because, you know, in hockey, sometimes your own team players will pass the puck back to the goalie to set up a play, right? But we don't do this in women's hockey, or not at least at the level that I played. So they passed the puck back. I wasn't ready for it, and it went into the net. And after that, I didn't see the puck at all. They made sure that puck didn't get anywhere near me. I was very embarrassed.
You know, I don't think there's a goalie alive who doesn't have some story like that. And you're home, away from home, Esther, is the Canada Center area of, begins with an M, Matula?
That's right. Very good.
Oh, I knew if I said enough things, eventually I'd get one right. I read that former NHL coach Roger Nielsen used to hold NHL camps there in the summer.
I remember him, and he would bring a lot of famous NHL players to come and train the kids. Roger was great. I met him while he was there, and the kids loved him. He was wonderful. He was really instrumental in developing Israeli hockey.
We kind of did this out of order, Esther. Your team actually made its international debut in a tournament in Serbia. What were the highlights of that? We covered Shen's historic goal, but what were some of the other highlights, and what went into getting you there and the whole logistics of the first tournament?
Again, I have to say that Lvov Weinberg was responsible for everything, and he did a phenomenal job of it. So he's great. I think what the most important thing was connecting with the players on the other teams. The girls in the dressing rooms, oh my God, between periods, they'd be dancing and singing together, all the teams, all the nationalities. I have to say that they loved us. We had no fans in the audience, but the Serbians themselves stood up and cheered for us when we went on the ice. I think it was our first time, and it was an amazing experience for our girls, some of whom had never traveled abroad, and facing a high level of hockey and understanding that, I mean, I understand coming from Canada what Team Canada is. And for me, it's like, oh my God, I'm on Team Israel. And I don't know if the girls appreciate that. I think they do.
Okay, well let's go right to the source. Shen, do you appreciate that? Did you? Do you appreciate it more now?
Yeah, for sure. Because I didn't have it before. So it's new for me. I really appreciate it. It's a huge opportunity for us.
You also had to play on boys' teams. We've got a couple of photos of that. how accepting were they of you on those teams, and how intimidating was that?
Actually, I didn't know anything else. For me, a group of women is the new thing.
And you also, as part of the national team, you also play in a men's league or against men's league's teams, right?
Yeah, right. I think that we will never give up. That's what is really unique for our team. We have girls that are 13 and they are like half of the size of the men's, and they're just not giving up. They're bringing the best they can to the ice, and I think that we're much better now in this league.
You know, if I may, I think that is a very important aspect of the women's team. During the Maccabea games, the Americans, I think it was the Americans or the Canadians, were like creaming us. And their coach came over and said, Esther, do you want us to let up on you and not play very hard? And I said, I'll ask the girls. I went in the room and I said, ladies, this is the situation. Do you want them to, take it easy on us? And they, to a person, they said, absolutely not. Bring it on. And I think that's the outstanding character of our team.
I want to read to you and get your reaction to what one of the Canadian players said after the medal ceremony at the games. These are the words of Melissa Ronsberg. Quote, "We had a picture with all three teams and our medals because the tournament really was about way more than winning. Of course, all of us were athletes. We were born to be competitive, but we came together working to promote and grow the game of women's hockey in Israel for Jewish females and beyond." Is that the spirit you felt? Esther, you go first, and then Shan, please follow up.
I totally agree. I met with Melissa back in Toronto after the Maccabea games, together with Sammy, who was on the team. And she's just an incredible person. She really is an ambassador for hockey. She has so much knowledge and experience. And I agree. I totally agree with what she said. It was more the experience and the acknowledgement of the need to promote women's hockey and to develop it amongst Jewish women.
Can?
Yeah, so I agree as well. I think that they spent a lot of time with us together at the hotel and on the ice, and they gave us a lot of tips, and they just spent a lot of time with us. Really, they didn't have to do it, but they really wanted to help us, and it was beautiful. We made new friendships for life, I think.
Yeah.
I asked Esther this, but Ken, the game of hockey now, what type of reaction do you get as an Israeli and as a woman when you tell people you're a hockey player?
So first of all, they are asking what is hockey because they don't know what it is. And after I show them the game in the internet, so they are surprised, really surprised that that's my hobby and that's what I'm doing like 20 years. I think that like if we will have more like interviews like this, and people will get to know us, and we will have money from the government to develop the hockey in Israel. I think that the level of the girls that already playing will be much better, and we will bring a lot of new girls to play hockey, and we could develop this in Israel.
Esther, later this month, if I'm correct, you're hosting a tournament. It's just a few days away, right?
It's not just a tournament, it's the IIHF Women's Championship Games. Even though we're Division 3B, we're proud of it. So we have Serbia and Bosnia-Herzegovina. They're going to be coming, and we're all staying at the hotel together on the beach. So I can only imagine how much fun we're going to have. The girls on our team are in contact with the other two teams through TikTok and other media venues. So they've got a lot of friends now. So I think they're all looking forward to getting together again.
There's only one of us in this conversation who understands TikTok, Esther, and it's not you and it's not me.
Not me.
What, Esther, is the future for the Israeli women's team?
I'd like to have women and girls. I want to have a farm team. I want there to be at least 50 players who are playing at a reasonably high level. So there's more competition. I want the girls to be more serious, to get more training in. We don't have enough ice time. And it all boils down to, unfortunately, funding. We have a practice tomorrow, and we have at least 4 girls who won't be able to make it because it's a 4-hour drive from the north, and it's not possible logistically. So funding and awareness and publicity and support and acknowledging that women play ice hockey. So the focus will be on us. So I think recruiting more players, and we're slowly doing it. We have younger women coming up that are phenomenal. And we have a couple of girls who are playing at a very high level abroad, and they will be part of the national team as well. So I think we have hopes for, having a good squad on the ice.
I can't let you go, Esther, without you giving me a scouting report about your captain.
Ken, I love Ken. She has a great sense of humor. She's very funny. And the women respect her and more or less listen to her. For Israelis to listen to anyone, it's a challenge, but they more or less listen to her and follow her lead. I think she's the epitome of what a captain should be. And I don't know if she knows it. I've seen a lot of captains on hockey teams, and Chen is perfect. I'm really, really glad she's our captain.
Thank you.
Well, I won't ask you to comment on that because hockey players are too modest. But I will say here in North America, we have kind of a slang expression that to be a really good hockey player, you have to go into the dirty areas, near the crease and where there's a lot of body contact. And we already know that she doesn't mind getting her hands dirty.
Great picture.
So, Ken, if I asked you with this picture, if you felt the presence of Patrick Swayze, would you have any idea what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, okay. There was a movie, Ghost, where Demi Moore is doing that clay stuff, and Patrick Swayze, the actor, is dead, but he comes and helps her out. And I'm really sorry I brought the whole thing up.
I'm sorry. I will watch this movie.
That's a great movie. Great movie.
Hey, I also saw you had a hand bandaged. Are you better now?
Yeah, I have my heart. It's here. I'm ready for the games.
Okay, very good. Guys, it was so nice of you late in the evening in Israel to make time to talk to us. Thank you so much for sharing your time.
It's been an honor.
Very much.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on Hockey Time Machine.